kindness and gentleness. When you hear those two words, you might think of the famous saying, nice guys finish last. But is that true? Actually, what I've found is that when you show kindness to people, when you're gentle with them, when you give them an encouraging word, people tend to be drawn to you. Kindness is actually rather magnetic. The thing is that we have all of these mediums that show that it's the bad boy that gets the girl, or the bad girl that gets the guy, or whatever the case may be. And so it's very hard sometimes to believe that the nice guy can win. We see this more and more, but something is starting to happen, I've noticed, where the nice guy is actually starting to win. It's a positive change from what we'd seen in the past. Little Busters is not a new anime. It isn't. It's fairly old. But there's something in Little Busters that I noticed from the very get-go that I think is even still missing right now. And that is a completely self-sacrificial main character who is both gentle and kind. And not only that, because it's easy to be gentle and kind with people who we like, or people that we think we may not like, or people that we think we may like. It's quite a different story to be kind and gentle to people who we don't like, our enemies, or people who we believe are enemies or combative. That is not easy. But something happens in Little Busters that I find very, very interesting. So for those of you that don't know, I'll give you the short Clip Notes version. Little Busters is a story about some friends who are trying to enjoy their last bit of time together, and they decide to play baseball. Along the way, they gain some new teammates, and the main character, Riki, is having to go through some of the most difficult things that you could imagine. He's trying to help these characters deal with some pretty heavy issues. It's sometimes a hard one to watch, a hard pill to swallow, but I highly recommend it because it's so good. And the thing is like I said before, I really haven't seen a medium quite like this one where the nice guy really is kind to even those who could be considered to be enemies, who could be considered antagonistic. Riki is the epitome of a nice guy. It's not always easy, of course, but it's true. The first example of Riki's kindness towards someone who could be considered to be antagonistic is in a set of episodes at the very beginning. There is someone that he meets. Her name is Mio Nishizono. Mio Nishizono is very drawn in, and a little later on, you see that she's actually quite depressed. She doesn't find very much use, very much stock in her own life. And this is something that Riki really starts to understand in episode 10, The Blue Above in the Sky, or The Blue of the Ocean. Mio is not antagonistic. Riki is trying to help her to see her self-worth, and he does so very well. The antagonistic one, however, is Midori. Now, the story goes that a long time ago, Mio was by herself. She was withdrawn in her books, and adults had an issue with that. They thought, oh, she's antisocial, there must be something wrong with her. And the more that she began to hear these things, the more that she would withdraw. Until one day, she was at a very low point, and suddenly she saw someone in the mirror that looked just like her. But this person was happy, this person was joyful, and had an outgoing personality, everything that Mio was not. She introduced herself as Midori. She said she was Mio's younger sister. Now, I don't really know the complete implications of what was actually happening here. The way that the story plays out, it seems as though Midori, rather than her own person, is another personality that Mio withdrew into at one time. But then when people started to worry about her and sending her to therapy and all of those things, Midori kind of disappeared into the back of her mind. And because of the fact that Mio was convinced that Midori was her sister, she felt bad for it. She felt bad that she had forgotten about her for all these years. And she believed that it was Midori's turn to have a life. She basically gave herself over to Midori. But the thing is, behind all the smiles and the happy-go-lucky, Midori Midori was very manipulative. She convinced Riki that the memories that he had of Mio were not set in stone, that she could change one little thing and put it in his mind, and suddenly he would think it was reality. She put it in his mind that he didn't really care about her, and that if Mio were to just vanish, then nobody would notice, because everybody would truly believe that she was Mio Nishizono. But Riki didn't fall for it. He knew that there was two different people, Mio and Midori. And although he was frightened of Midori at first, he did something really interesting at the end of their arc. You see, Riki had found Mio and convinced her that her life was important. And so Midori knew that it was time to go. It was time to leave. So she called Riki on the phone and said, "Hi, I know you found her. It's my time to leave," or something to that effect. Riki was actually saddened by this. Even though Midori was manipulative and trying to get people to forget Mio, he didn't believe that Midori deserved to be punished or forgotten either. So he promised her. He said, "I remembered Mio. I'll remember you too." What a thing to say. What a thing to believe. Here you have this person who is really not very nice, even though she acts nice. And, she's basically trying to get one of your friends to just vanish. And instead of celebrating when she realizes that she's not gonna get her way and she's gonna disappear, you're like, no, I don't want you to disappear. I believe you are just as real as Mio. Riki treated someone who was really not respectful at all with absolute respect, believing that even their life meant something, real or imaginary or whatever. It didn't matter to him. He had met her, he had interacted with her, and so as far as he was concerned, she was just as real a person as Mio was, and he was not willing to let her go. He was not willing to completely forget her. And really, that kindness, that gentleness that he showed towards Midori, despite her antagonistic behavior, realistically, it saved them both, Mio and Midori. Even though Midori did end up disappearing, she did so happily because, one, she was happy that her sister found her voice, found someone who was willing to accept her for who she was and make her feel important, but also because for once, someone validated her too. And because of all of that, Riki and Mio's relationship grew. And her relationship with the rest of the group grew as well, even though she was still shy, she was still kind of the bookworm type. She participated in every way that she could. She made herself known. And because of that, no one ever forgot Mio Nishizono again. The second time that Riki showed kindness and gentleness to an antagonistic character, an antagonistic person, was after he had met another friend. This one is a little bit is hard because there's a lot in this one. So Riki met Haruka Saegusa. Haruka was bubbly, she was loud, she was absolutely a troublemaker, and she just wanted to have a fun time on the surface. So she's hanging out with the little busters and causing trouble and mischief, and the head of the student disciplinary committee comes, and really actually she's not even trying to cause any trouble at this point. She's actually trying to help. She's fixing a bench, an old bench that she's connected to. She would sit on it and think and come up with her best schemes, and that bench meant a lot to her. So when it became withered and broken down, she decided to fix it. But the council and the disciplinary committee thought that it was just junk. And the head of the disciplinary committee ordered her to step away and immediately told the rest of the group, the rest of the committee, to break it, to completely destroy it right in front of her. She was devastated. Riki saw this and he didn't understand why Kanata was doing this. He didn't understand why Kanata was being so rude, so mean. The confusion only continued when he learned that Kanata Futaki and Kanata Futaki and Haruka Saekusa were actually sisters. And yeah, sure, there were times when there were some harsh conversations, but all the while, Riki was just trying to understand. And he never really put her down. He would come to, Haruka's aid, but he never really did anything bad or mean or anything like that to Kanata. He just wanted to understand. It turns out that the Futaki family was very prominent and very powerful. And in order to stay that way, they needed to save face. It's very popular in Eastern countries like China and Japan. Well, the twin girls were actually born of two fathers. One father was the one that the family liked. The other one, they believed, was basically a dog and didn't deserve their daughter or the twins that they didn't even know that her daughter had at the time. Well, their mother had decided she didn't want the two-husband system. She was in love with a one person, Sho Saekusa. And so Sho, wanting to make sure that he got his children, he made a mistake. He let his anger get the best of him, and even though his intentions were good, he did break the law. In his attempt to rescue both Kanata and her sister, he burned the house down. They got out, but the family obviously was not happy. They now had a criminal in their family, and they were not going to stand for that. They basically scrubbed his name from the entire lineage and refused to call him anything but the criminal. The problem was that the family didn't know whose daughter the criminal belonged to. So, in a weird show of, power, I guess, they decided to test the sisters. They put them through all of these different trials, and they basically decided that the one who solved most of them or who did the best out of, I can't remember exactly how many, but however many trials there were, that was the true Saekusa. No, the true Futaki, sorry. That was the true Futaki. Kanata won the competition. So in their eyes, she was the good one, and her sister was garbage. They sent Kanata to the same school to make sure that her sister never lifted up her head again. They wanted to completely humiliate and degrade and just basically make Haruka believe that she was trash. And so they told Kanata that if she made Haruka's life miserable, she would get anything she wanted. And on the surface, you might think that that's why Kanata was doing what she was doing, but Riki didn't believe it. To him, that made no sense. And so he kept trying, and he went after Kanata, not in like a I'm gonna attack you sort of way. He kept asking questions and kept trying to understand her. And finally, it came out that actually what really happened was they had to have a winner for the competition. Otherwise, the family was just going to eliminate them both. Haruka was humiliated, but she was alive. Kanata, deep down, could not stomach the idea of truly losing her sister. And so all of the cruelty, all of the horrible, horrible things that she did to satiate the family was all so that they would spare her. Kanata technically didn't even win the last competition. She lied. In the last competition, they had to make a dish, and Kanata lied and said that she was allergic to eggs. So Haruka was the only one that could make something with eggs in it. And no, it didn't go as planned. It was burned, and it was pretty bad, and that's what ended up getting her kicked out. But to Haruka, there was still at least a little bit of dignity because she felt like there was something that she could do that her sister could. And Kanata let her believe that for years until the truth finally came out. And granted, yeah, she was doing something mean. She was manipulating Riki, trying to make him believe that she was Haruka, and kind of like tried to drive a wedge. Basically what she wanted was she wanted to see Riki be kind to her. She wanted to see Riki, kind of connect with her so that Haruka would believe that once again she's just falling into her sister's shadow, that her friends weren't really their friends, that they wouldn't know the difference if Kanata just put in some colored contact lenses and made her hair look different. Thing is that despite all of that, Riki didn't want to see Kanata as the bad guy. I mean, he did at first. He did see her as the bad guy, but it was never, oh, she's just rude. She's just, this or that. He was trying to understand her. And when one of his other friends said, Riki, please don't judge her too harshly. This isn't what she really is. This isn't who she really is. Riki didn't scoff and go, well, she sure isn't proving it. Like, she's disgusting. She's rude. She's this, that. No, that just made him strive even further to understand. She took this person that he took this person that he could have very easily have considered to be an enemy and tried to understand her. Because at the end of the day, he wanted his sisters to be united again. He wanted them to understand each other again, and he wanted them to be a real family again. In another version, Riki, granted, at this point, Kanata isn't, trying to make her sister's life miserable, but he's still kind of mean and kind of a little nasty. But that doesn't stop Riki from trying to be her friend, from helping her in the disciplinary committee in the office, and helping her do paperwork and staying late as she does, and trying to help her to fill things out so she can go home at a decent hour. He does that. He strives after her to figure her out and to give her a chance and to just love on her no matter what people say. And when she's exposed, when he finds out that her plan to leave the Futakis didn't work out and that they had in fact increased their horrible ways, he didn't scoff at her. He didn't act like she was something or a freak. When he saw the scars, he told her, it is easy to tell people to push them away and tell them that it's none of their business. But when we do that, we start to get scared because we think, well, what if they really do leave me alone and there's nothing I can do about it? And he told his story about when that happened to him and how happy he was and how blessed he felt that his friends felt that they could not leave him alone. And he refused to leave Kanata in the dark in which she was living in. Non-believers, we as believers, we believe that there was a moment during the sacrifice of Jesus Christ when he was on the cross, bleeding, and people were spitting on him and whipping him and just being absolutely awful, antagonistic. They should have been his enemies. The soldiers, the people who turned on him, they should have been his enemies, but instead he said, forgive them. They know not what they do. Riki knew that deep down, this was not the way Kanata wanted to be, and he kept striving after her again and again and again until there was a breakthrough, until finally Kanata herself said, enough is enough. I don't want to be this way anymore. I want to love on my sister. I want to be able to make my own decisions about my life. I am not going to let my fear of these people stop me anymore. I am not going to continue to be angry at my father for making a mistake. And because of that, begrudgingly at first, but little by little, Kanata began to change. And in many instances, came to Little Buster's aid because Riki put out an olive branch, something she could hold on to, something she could call real. And that is what we need to understand. Instead of, oh, nice guys finish last. No, the thing is that, sometimes the nice guy won't get the girl or won't get the whatever. But here's the thing, a lot of the time, and I won't say all the time, but a lot of the time, if you got a friend who you're interested in and you're just kind to them and you're showing your best self and you're striving to understand them and just love on them and be a friend to them, they gravitate towards you because they trust you, because they know they can trust you. And that's something that should be completely, it should override everything else, because when you have that trust, that means that they can come to you when they need to, and even when they don't need to, even when they just want to. So you may not get exactly what you wanted or what you thought you wanted, but sometimes those can be the best relationships of all, because there's this I won't say unbreakable because we're human, we can definitely break trust, but there is this trust that at least feels indelible, and if we keep stepping in it, if we keep living in it, we change on the inside too, and we want to be that for others, even the ones like Kanata who everyone else would just ignore, everyone else who would say, oh, they're mean, they're rude, why bother? That's the way we should. Wouldn't that feel better? Don't you have someone like that in your life, or aren't you that way in someone else's life? And doesn't that actually make you feel good when you look at it from the point of view of, sure, maybe I don't have exactly what I thought I wanted, but I got this. And man, oh man, realistically, this feels so much better. Kindness and gentleness is magnetic. The writers of Little Busters, the creators of the anime and the visual novels, they understood that.